Good morning, I'm Frank Powers, and this is Lifestyle Tucson, the program where I speak to our neighbors, the people behind the scenes of our amazing organizations, small businesses, and nonprofits. Our friends are informing you how they serve our community, and they are here to give you updates on future projects. Let's make some new friends today. If you're looking for a team of artists, musicians, and educators with a shared goal of developing creativity and talent in Tucson's youth art scene, this is the episode for you. Groundworks is exactly that, and they have been creating local events with some of Tucson's most talented youth every Friday and Saturday night. That's when Groundworks hosts an all-ages event for youth to come interact with art and music. Catch them all around Tucson, connecting with our local artist community, but you can also visit their venue page at groundworkstucson.com for a full calendar of events, or just keep listening to me. Because today, I'm fortunate enough to speak with Logan Greene, Board President and Executive Director of Groundworks. Logan, welcome to Lifestyle Tucson.
Thanks for having me, Frank. This is exciting.
I'm glad that you're excited because I read you were a board president, so we're going to get you super pumped. All right, because there's a lot to talk about your great organization, because I've known or heard about Groundworks from here or that, but it's like I almost don't know everything about it, but I know about it. So that's what I want to clear up. Because I ask people about Groundworks, and I will even say, like, oh, do you know what they do? They know it's a group of artists. They know it's about music. They know it's musicians. But why don't you give us a little history of what Groundworks is all about?
Yeah, sure. So our mission at Groundworks is promoting the youth-driven music and arts community here in Tucson. And so what that means to us is that we create a space and a facility for youth to come and, like you put, interact with the arts. And we try to make it experimental, experiential, and all-encompassing so that it's inclusive to lots of different types of artists and backgrounds. We are actively seeking artists and musicians to be a part of our space, and we promote and highlight the youth. For us, that's 14 to 24-year-olds trying to kind of do their first experiment into the arts. So that can be bands playing their first show, or artists in their first gallery, or even more experienced artists who want an outlet for something new and different than what they might get elsewhere.
That's an interesting age demographic there, because even when I was reading and looking at stuff, I was wondering about some of that because, right, it's not youth, it's not your preschoolers and kindergartners, like you're helping teenagers and kids into their early 20s. Remember, you don't stop developing till you're 25. So you're helping these kids get that creative stuff going when they're still developing all the way through 24.
Yeah, I'm 35. I'm still developing. So.
I'm pretty sure my fontanelle hasn't healed entirely either.
Absolutely. So yeah, for us, we see these young people, and there's not specific avenues for them in Tucson to share their experiences, share their art or perspective, or any of that kind of stuff. There are places that happens occasionally, but we are dedicated to that. So our programming is designed not only so that we are highlighting these artists, but that they are also the ones creating it along the way. So we have programs that are all youth-driven, so that they are the ones doing the thing and not just being supported by it. So it is all-encompassing that way.
Okay, so they even like kind of help craft the curriculum that they even want to learn.
Yeah, a majority of our volunteers are that age range, 14 to 24.
Wow.
And because we're an all-volunteer staff, it means that we are looking for help from any age and truly an all-ages thing, but a majority are the people that we serve as a nonprofit as well.
That's huge. And there's a lot of ways to support besides donating. I got a whole list we'll get to in a little bit. But let's talk about some of the programs that you do offer. It's very music-driven, right? A lot of music.
Yeah, a big chunk of what we our events have been our most successful programming, and that has been a lot of music-focused stuff. So in our venue space, we, like you said, have Friday, Saturday concerts every week. And sometimes weekdays as well, if we have out-of-town bands coming through on a weekday, that sort of thing. And those have been super successful for us. But that's not to say that when we do a music event, it is exclusively music. So one thing that we've done is throughout our entire space, which we definitely invite people to come check out, we have murals on almost every surface that you can see, because we have these artists who have come in and display their work on a more permanent basis. So even though it is a musical event, we have these other features of visual arts, etc. And every month we have a rotating art gallery. Often a couple times in a month we might switch things out. So we do have some of the visual arts side represented, but those kind of are more long-term, or they last a little longer than just a ephemeral one-off concert sort of thing.
Well, I love that because, again, I've run a space in the past and I throw events a lot. And what you're doing is the thing that makes something work is it's always something new. That's what you need. Even every week. Every week you can go there and there's going to be a new thing. As a comic collector growing up, that's what I realize is what keeps the comic collectors coming back. It's the subscription. It's every week there's a new thing that you need to get. They don't all come out on the same day once a month. So same thing. Every week you're getting something new here at Groundworks, a new show. But then also every month you're getting new visual stimulation, new artists in there, new people to meet, and new people to really find out about. And also a bunch of new stuff to read, because what's the coolest thing about Groundworks? I'll answer that for you. It's your zine library.
We do have a really awesome library of zines.
Amazing.
Over 500 titles and a number of comic books. And many of those have been donated from different organizations like Tucson Zine Fest and Amazing Discoveries and different places that we've partnered with over the years. But some of them are just somebody will come and be like, can I put my zine here? We're like, yes, please do. And so people come in, they check out a zine, they return it at their leisure. There's no late fees or anything like that. And we just have people kind of experiencing this medium, this idea often for the first time by just coming into our space and just seeing it on display.
Yeah, and again, some of my listeners here skew a little older. So listen here, a zine is like a punk rock version of a comic that you kind of make on your own. They're kind of dirty and photocopied, and you don't got to worry about full color press or glossy pages. They're very DIY, and kind of when comics started back in the underground comics. That's comics with an X. So zines are amazing and a great way to get involved in the comic scene and start really experimenting with sequential art and making comics and telling stories. So I love zines. Did you ever go up to Phoenix, I think? Did you ever see the Wasted Ink Zine Distro?
I'm familiar with it, but I haven't been up there. I
love it. That got me really excited when they showed up. So then finding out that I can find an even bigger source of zines right here in Tucson and the Tucson Zine Fest, because I was checking that out. And how involved I thought I was going to ask, are you in charge of that, or are you just involved in it?
So Zine Fest and us, we're kind of just partner organizations and super supportive of each other. One of the other, again, non-music things we do is we are a host for, classes and events and things like that. And so Tucson Zine Fest often comes in and does some of their zine making workshops or even their planning meetings at our space, because that's something that we've tried to do as Groundworks, is expose our space to lots of different communities and be a hub or a central place where they can come and use it as a community space. So that is through our partnership, but we aren't directly involved in creating Tucson Zine Fest.
Sure, but you're definitely helping them out by giving them space.
Absolutely.
A lot of the things that we all need as artists is creative space, and just allowing these people and these groups to have organizations have meetings and use the space up, but also to throw their own different events and have classes, as you said. And you guys have classes. What are some of the classes that you offer at Groundworks?
Yeah, so at this point, we've kind of tried a lot of different avenues in education. When we started, we were really focused on kind of like 3 tiers of our space. And that's one, doing live events and artistic programming, which we've been really successful at, more than we even thought we would. And then 2, being a community space, like I talked about, where people can come in and use our space. And then 3, I'm an educator and a musician, so I wanted to create a place where we could do classes and lessons and develop that side of things. What we've learned is that through being an all-volunteer organization, that was a lot more difficult on that side is education development, because it really is a full-time job for multiple people in order to make that as successful as we'd like it to be. So what we've kind of turned that side of our organization into is, one, a host for others. So we have people who do rehearsals at our space for youth and youth ensembles. We have classes happening at the space. So like Tucson Zine Fest and the Drawing Studio will sometimes use our space for kind of extra classes that they have when their spaces are booked.
Oh, great.
And we've kind of gone in that route in a lot of ways. The educational stuff that we offer are lessons that we have available on our website, primarily in music, but every once in a while we're able to host a workshop or an event. It's kind of a one-off thing for teachers to kind of have this new space to do something different in. So like I said, zine workshops and things like that, where there's not a normal kind of dedicated space for that kind of thing. We're a good host for that.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we're not really developing our education in terms of regular classes or regular events, but we are looking for people who want to bring their idea to the space and be able to use our space and our resources to kind of elevate whatever they're doing.
Well, that's great. I remember I even applied at a point to do a one-off class for comics, comic books, or cartooning, something like that. Do you have a window in which you look for this? And is it like a time of year you do it? How would people find out how they can become an educator or pitch a class to you?
Yeah, well, it is a year-round thing in terms of somebody wanting to create a class, but like I said, we kind of moved away from that. But, one of the reasons we didn't end up going with classes at that point is because we didn't have the development side worked out, where we weren't we didn't have like a wealth of students who were just looking for a teacher to teach this thing. We really need to be working with teachers who want to build their own program, where we can be either a studio for it, or we can be just a host for that idea. But that we do year round. So anybody who wants to do it, we have lots of openings. We have people reaching out, and that again just through our website. Yeah,
and I've worked with other organizations, and that is what does seem to work, because it's that educator brings their audience. It's not about you guys trying to capture an audience, because I've done it for years. Selling education is difficult.
Yeah.
It's just a difficult thing, because even if it is like, here's how you draw cartoons, or let's make comics, or let's whatever. Yeah, and it's on the weekend. You just finished your 5 days of work, or your 5 days of whatever you do, go to school, go to college. Let me choose to spend my time going somewhere else to learn something else. It takes a special type of person. And is this course available online on YouTube? Yes, it is. Things exist.
Yeah, and for us, a lot of it was trying to do it. We had tried to begin our organization in 2019. We got, our nonprofit status. We did a bunch of fundraising, and finally, at the end of that year, we found a building and we signed a lease. Right at the beginning of 2020, we had trying to build it out for like an April 3rd, 2020 grand opening.
Yikes! So what happened?
Right? Yeah, exactly. So the shutdowns really were like right in the middle of us, or right at the beginning of us trying to actually open.
Yeah.
Which meant that our education side has shifted entirely. And anybody who works in public school system knows how much the educational landscape has shifted with, the post-shutdown COVID world. So that is such an uphill battle for us to try to go towards that when students are burnt out on everything, because this Zoom teaching, Zoom lessons, wanting to do more schools since then is just an entirely different landscape for students and teachers alike. So that's one of the reasons we ended up shifting our focus. We had a lot more interest in the education side before the shutdowns, and then since then it's just been a harder battle to fight.
Yeah, obviously, and for everyone.
Yeah.
All right, well then let's move on to something else. How'd you get the name Groundworks?
So we went through a lot of options. So I grew up with a lot of different all ages venues here in Tucson. There was Scrappy's when I was in high school. Before that, there's the Downtown Performing Arts Center, the DPC, and so since then there have been kind of on and off a few. So when we were coming up with this idea, we really wanted to have something that can be this institution for our space, and for Tucson, really, that can be this all ages venue that lasts and kind of is more than just the year it exists until people get burnt out. So for us, that was partly kind of cheesy, but our having a good foundation, having a strong thing to land on. So that was the Groundworks idea, and it just felt catchy to us in terms of people would hear it. We also went through a few that we really liked in terms of names, but there were too similar of organizations throughout the country.
Sure.
And for what we do, we worked with out-of-town acts, and it's not exclusively a local thing. So we wanted to make sure that it was not already being kind of taken somewhere else. And this one was just generic enough that there's not any specific organization elsewhere that has this name as well. So that's kind of the idea.
Super smart. SEO is very important. Again, I'm glad you didn't name it The Hub. right? We got about 32 of those
Oh
around
yeah,
town.
everywhere you go, there's the hub of
Yeah.
some type.
Whether they're selling real estate or ice cream,
Right.
it's the hub. But like that's a very important thing. And the name is great because it does also sound like, you work from the ground up.
Exactly.
Brilliant, foundation, brilliant. So that's really good. It sounds strong. It really does sound like a great motivational name anyway. So I love it. You talked about you. Let me talk about you. Tell me a little bit about your origin and just what got you involved in what you do. You're a musician.
Yeah, absolutely. So I, started playing music in high school and was in all the music classes, but also just started to play in bands. I was really excited about that. And then studied music in college and went back to school for education. And, I've taught at high schools doing guitar and other classes, mariachi, jazz band, orchestra. So
Nice.
I've been all over the place in my teaching background.
Yeah.
But I'm also a musician and touring musician, so I see the need for this type of thing when I go and play a similar organization elsewhere. I've actually played now in 49 states. I'm trying to get to 50. I'm got to get to Alaska.
Is it Alaska?
Yeah, Alaska's the last
Way to
one.
go.
And so I got to make a tour just around getting to Alaska, checking the box for me, getting through all 50 states. So I've been through it as far as like every level of touring, right? Playing, legit opening shows for, large bands and also just, playing somebody's house and sleeping on the floor there. And
Wow.
so I see these different types of spaces, and the cool thing that with Groundworks something that I bring is that when we have these bands come and play, they get this very professional experience in this DIY manner, and it's this perfect blend of the two because people will come up to me and be like, "This was way better sound than the legit club we played the last night." I'm like, "Yeah, we care here. Like,
Isn't
we
that
actually
something?
try."
Yep. That's because the quote unquote legit club hires a guy. They hire a guy and it's his job. And he goes and complains about his job, just like we all get used to our jobs.
Right.
Whereas a volunteer organization is literally like you step up because you care so much, you almost can't help it.
Yeah.
No,
we want to be doing this. Like
Yeah.
we could be doing anything else with our time. And
Yep.
we choose to do this because we think it's an important thing for Tucson's youth.
Heck yeah. And I'm going to motivate some of these people to volunteer, but let's find out who you're volunteering with. I got a list of names in front of me. It's all the people that you work with and that have built Groundworks with you from the ground up.
I love it.
So why don't you tell me what their role is and then just sum them up in a sentence? Because otherwise, we'll be here forever. Tell me about Narantha Balagopal.
Yeah, so myself, Narantha Balagopal, and Tim Milner, who I might be getting to.
He's next.
We are the founding board.
Okay.
And so I founded as board president, Narantha as board treasurer, and Tim Milner as our board secretary. And so we were the ones who have been part of the DIY scene in Tucson for a while. And the three of us really figured out how to do this from this completely DIY background. So
Wow.
we all figured it out ourselves. None of us came from this place where we had connections to funds or people who've done this before.
Mm-hmm.
So we were all figuring out as we go. So Narantha and Tim and I starting it. But again, that's all pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And so since then, a lot of things have shifted and people have moved in different places. So one of the big changes this year is that I am actually no longer board president.
I got to start from the beginning.
I am.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I am I'm now the board treasurer.
Okay.
But I'm still the executive director. And
Okay.
So that's my role in the space. Well, actually, we've added a few people to the board. Caitlin Hall is now our board president.
Okay.
Steve Basse is a board member. Maggie Jones, our board secretary. Tim Milner, still a board member. And myself as board treasurer. So
Okay.
that is our new board of folks. But the founding team was, obviously essential to us actually getting going and deciding on these big decisions during the pandemic shutdowns that we had to face if we were even going to continue as an organization.
I mean, I'm so glad that you fought through it and that you did figure it out. Because even again, let me ask you this. When you kicked around the idea to various other folks in your world that you're going to start a nonprofit, how much negativity did you get from just people that just don't believe in people that have dreams?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a different thing in that I think some people didn't take it super seriously, and that's understandable. Lots of people try to do things all the time, and you know, I get it. But A lot of people were very supportive,
Okay,
and
good.
so it wasn't like an entirely uphill battle. But what I've found more often than not is that people are happy to support the idea in theory, but when it comes down to the actual work,
Yep.
that's where you lose people
100%.
and lose that sort of thing. So even some folks who've been involved or have volunteered, etc. It can be tough to find that balance of people of when they actually find out what it means to do this thing. And so I'd say that's more of the challenge for us in that there's a lot of work to be done in any organization and trying to do what we're doing and trying to do it right. Like we have the right amount of parking spots and exits and bathrooms at our space. And there's a lot of spaces that, may start, but it's not actually as safe of a place as they say it is because they didn't go through everything that needs to be done. So it ends up being a lot of work, and sometimes people shy away from that.
They do. It's very easy to start a thing, to name an organization, and to make that logo. I would always say this, and this is always what I say on the show: make friends with the people doing the things that you want to do. Don't make your friends do the things that you want to do, because they will last 3 episodes of that podcast. They will last 3 weeks of that thing, and then it becomes work.
Advice.
Yeah. So let's get people down to Groundworks, because there's a bunch of ways people can get involved, and let's just talk about it. Groundworks is always seeking volunteers of any age who are interested in helping to fulfill your mission to promote the youth-driven music and arts community in Tucson. You can learn the ins and outs of nonprofit operations, which I love. You can experience local art and music firsthand and join a community of amazing creatives. So how can people get involved with Groundworks?
So we have a volunteer form on our website. GroundworksTucson.com will get you there, but it's the Get Involved page. And from there, we have you fill out a form and come to an orientation. And that's like the beginning stages for anybody who wants to volunteer at any level of Groundworks. That could mean that you, after doing that, you come to our shows and you staff run the door. Maybe you have more technical skill and you want to run some sound. Or it could be you want to be on the administrative side and you want to get involved with the actual program development that we have. Like I said, education programming is something we is a big gap we would like to fill down the line. So there's a lot of room for people to get involved in any capacity that they think of. But for us, it can be, like I said, a very simple thing. We just need one-off tasks done every once in a while. So just kind of being aware of what we got going on and trying to keep up with us is actually a huge way to help just make sure that we sustain and we're around for years to come.
Heck yeah, a good way to do that. Also, you can donate money, right? You can't donate your time. You can donate money. It's a good way to do it. They also have a great merch store, which I love to see. You can just buy merch, which is always a great way to support a cause because then you're wearing the brand and they can see it around town. Get some stickers on your water bottles, perhaps, so people see what's going on.
That's huge for us because we at some point some stuff we've gotten is donated, but a lot of it we spend money on too. So it not only helps recoup the cost, but then helps us out in furthering our mission.
Yep. If you want to know about what's going on, they got a great blog you can subscribe to. You still doing stuff on Twitch or no?
So our Twitch is something we do with our live streams that are kind of infrequent. And part of that is because we do save a lot of energy actually for an event that just passed is our Camp Groundworks event.
Yes.
That's our yearly fundraiser, basically our capstone event where we have over 20 bands performing, primarily youth volunteers, primarily youth performers, primarily youth artists, and the actual audience themselves.
Yeah.
So that's our big event. But throughout it, we live stream for 12 hours straight to do this giant event, and the whole thing's live, and everything is kind of back and forth, both the performers and our telephone hosts, etc. So our Twitch channel is through that, but we also post things on our YouTube channel as well of performers who've recently performed, local or otherwise. So that's another place that people can check us out.
Heck yeah. And also you go buy one of the Jim Click raffle tickets at millionsfortucson.org.
100% of that money from tickets you buy from us goes to us.
Wow. Really? Is that how it works?
It's a wonderful kind of contribution to the nonprofit community from Jim Click.
There you go. Millionsfortucson.org. Get you all that information. So we're getting close to the end here. So let me just ask you, if you had one wish for your organization, what's that wish?
Well, obviously, as any nonprofit, I think, at their core is the resources and funding is always something that we need. So for us, that means that we would be growing and expanding our services. So on top of all the stuff that we have informally, we also want to be adding more formal services in job training. We're building out a recording studio, so we want to be able to have that as one of the services we offer. And then eventually we would love to kind of be at a point where we are sustainable enough to have staff, so that this really becomes reaches our goal of longevity in Tucson. It's not sustainable for forever, all volunteer, so it's something that is one of our dreams in the future. And that comes from support from all sources.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we should just do, and I'm not even lying, we should write a nice letter to Dave Grohl. I'm not even kidding.
I love it.
Yep, we should maybe do that. Let's send him a link, because today we made friends with Logan Greene, board president, or not anymore, but he is the executive director of Groundworks, the all-ages venue and nonprofit community arts space dedicated to developing creativity and talent in Tucson's youth arts scene. Thank you so much for joining me today, Logan.
Thanks for having me. This has been super fun.
Heck yeah, this was Lifestyle Tucson. Bing bong bing, time for a recap. That was a pretty great conversation with Logan. I really enjoyed meeting him and learning a lot about Groundworks. Again, I was kind of maybe projecting that I kind of had an idea what's going on with them, not really entirely sure. So it was really nice to really get all the details on how they started and what they're doing all the time. So let's make sure you know what's going on, because since November of 2021, they are located at 2919 East Grant Road in Tucson, Arizona at 85716, at Groundworks Tucson over on Instagram, and of course, groundworkstucson.com. Makes a lot of sense to get involved with them. You want to teach a class, volunteer, go to their Get Involved page. It's a lot of DIY activities, obviously. And take it from a guy who's been to almost all 50 states. We got to get Logan over to Alaska soon. How exciting. And something else that's exciting for me personally is the fact that this is the 1-year anniversary of Lifestyle Tucson with Frank Powers. So I've been hosting the show and been the director of public affairs around here for an entire year. Haven't missed an episode. And I'm really proud of the catalog that I've built here for the radio show. That is, of course, available as a podcast and doesn't just disappear anymore. So I'm really proud of everything that's going on here. It's been one great year of Lifestyle Tucson, going full force nonstop with all of this. The radio station's even behind me and getting me some advertising about the show. And I'm getting so much feedback. I sent out a lot of Christmas cards, as many as I could, and I'm going to really continue to do that sort of thing and just send these thank you cards to all the organizations that have really made this show so great, supported it, met me, and really championed everything that I'm all about, because they really learned about your best Frank forever. Not everybody in town knows what I'm up to, but if you don't know about it, you can learn about it, because K-Gun9 did a little news story about me the other day about the comic book mobile and how I'm bringing creativity and joy at every stop. And it's really something I'm very proud of. I really feel the love, and I love shouting about all the stuff I'm trying to do here in Tucson. So go look for that. Go search for it. You can find it all on social media and all that sort of thing if you are friends with me at Your Best Frank Forever. You can go find it over at kgun9.com. Before I go, I want to thank our new friends at Groundworks for joining me today. You've been listening to Lifestyle Tucson. If you're a nonprofit that would like to be on the show, email lifestyletucson@gmail.com. For more information about this program or to listen to something you may have missed, go to the Sunday Mornings page on klpx.com, kfma.com, mixfm.com, or espntucson.com. You can also subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and Audible, or wherever fine podcasts are working from the ground up. Follow on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Lifestyle Tucson, because I'm your BFF, your best Frank forever, Frank Powers. Toot, toot, Tucson. I love you the most.